What's up, everyone? Kevin Allen here, aka The Geek from DFS Army. And this is your NFL Week 13 Millie Maker review. And what we like to do in this channel and over at DFS Army is go back each week, look at what worked, what didn't work, really teach the approach to using our optimizer, our projection model, all the tools to create winning lineups. And I have to say, NFL Week 13 really was spectacular. We absolutely crushed it. I had core plays on Garrett Wilson and Christian Watson, Samaje Perine, Amon-Ra. We loved the Hurts to Brown combination. Was all over that. So that combination alone, just that grouping of players, Devontae Adams over Josh Jacobs as well, was a preference. It's something we did in the notes. Really worked out. And to show you guys a little bit of what happened, check out this video. There it is. That's the Hurts note. 50K winner, 20K winner, Styles. What's up? That's the mini max 10K winner. Are you kidding me? Hobie Hall with a 8K win, 50K and 3K and 20. They're all helmets everywhere. Helmet after helmet. There's the mix-in note. Perine. Load up on Perine. It would have been hard to not make money. This week was awesome. They keep coming. Awesome week of winning at DFS Army. And so, you know, a lot of that went hand in hand. The optimizer especially really killed it. Take a look at this. At one point, right towards the end, and of course, MS held out and won the mini max, but it was just all DFS Army, you know, in the mini. Look at this. First place, second. This is ridiculous. 4th, 6th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th plays everywhere. So people are using the tools and taking down tournaments. And I want to show you how it's done here in real time. But let's first take a look at the Millie Maker winner for NFL Week 13. And this is Am Hunt 2178. Made at least 2 lineups because they have 2 right here in the top 10. So congrats to Am Hunt 2178 for taking down $1 million on what seemingly was a couple of handcrafted lineups, though I can't tell for sure. Look at this lineup. There's nothing really correlated about it. It's just a single QB stack, Geno Smith with Tyler Lockett, which worked out really well. That was a kind of not the nuts, but it was enough. Geno did not score anywhere near what Hurts put up, but it was enough because he was cheaper, and that savings in this crazy circumstance allowed them to play Browns defense, and Browns defense was what you needed to win the million this week. Even, yeah, I mean, everybody here pretty much that had a shot at the million had Browns defense in there. You see, there's Browns and the Browns. You know, Browns are everywhere. 49ers had a nice performance, and oh man, this person's hurt and played the Jets. Oh man, what a shame. So one of the things we like to do here every week is let's just go and see if we can't replicate the process to take down $1 million and of course, and to win tournaments. And what we're doing here with back testing, and this is an awesome tool. So at DFS Army, we have the Domination Station Optimizer, which is our mass multi-entry optimizer. It does everything. It's the major tool that we have over at DFS Army. And one of the cool features about it is the back test functionality. So after a slate is over, we can go back and backtest it, rerun lineups, and what'll happen is in the player field you have final fantasy points. So essentially, our projections for the slate remain the same; they're here in the projection box, but we have an extra column for final fantasy points. In essence, the final score. And what that does is allows us to backtest and then see what those lineups would have scored and see what the highest lineups would score. So we've been doing this all season, and we've developed the standard set of rules that we like to use in the optimizer for backtesting purposes, and then with some tweaks here or there, of course, to take down. You can't always take down $1 million just with a generic run. But let's start with our generic set of rules. So let's do 3 uniques. We're going to make 150 lineups. I'm going to set the ownership cap, which is the total projected ownership exposure. At the point pre-slate, we don't know what the actual ownerships are, but we use projection. We're going to set that at 110. And again, these are back tested over the last couple of years, and those numbers have led to the most success in running. So another thing I like to do here is set tight end to 0% in the flex, RB to 20%. On DraftKings, it is much better to play wide receivers in the flex. It's there. Wide receivers have lower mean projections, but higher ceilings compared to running backs. Running backs have a slightly higher mean projection, which is like we like them in cash games, but the ceiling is less high more often than not. So you can find cheaper wide receivers that just happen to pop off. That's less common in the running back position, especially if, the running backs are just mainly carrying the ball and not catching passes, as a lot of them are. So from here, I'm going to set randomization at 5%. Let's get a little randomized going, just a little bit. And then we're going to start to set up our player pool. So the first thing I do is set the global max exposure down to 30%. Now I'm going to adjust this for my core plays of the week. And I'm also going to go to the QB position in particular. Let me make sure I did that for all the position groups here. And then in the QB position in particular, what I'm going to do is actually control for my QB exposures. And I'm going to go to my cheat sheet for the slate. Again, we're on a really good group, so I want to kind of be on that group as well. Mahomes, Jalen Hurts was a 4.5-star play. That's again why people smashed. Low projected player. We loved him, and I thought only donkeys weren't loving him. So sucks for them. Sucks to suck, right? Joe Burrow, Fields was another one that was super, super low projected ownership. Mike White as well. So we were on kind of a different group than what the chalk was this week. And I'm going to control for that a little bit at the QB position by setting forced mins on some of these quarterbacks. So we'll set Jalen Hurts at 15%. We'll give Mahomes 15%. Give Fields 15. Herbert was okay. 10. Burrow was a 15%er. Count it up. 15, 30, 45, 55, 70. Now I had some Tua last week, just a little bit. No Deshaun. Oh, that was a donkey play. I'm gonna include some Geno because he actually was a nut. So we'll give him 10, and then I believe Mike White as well. So let me set him at 5 and see if we forgot anybody. Jared Goff as well. Yeah, Goff. Hang on a second. Count this up. 15, 30. 45, 55. I'm going to zero out. Make sure we have enough. 15, 30, 45, 60, 65, 75. Oh, yeah, we're only at 75. 80. There's 80. So I'm going to raise up Mike to 10%. Actually, we'll leave him at 5. Raise up Goff to 10%. Now, this could actually be achieved just with likes and, unchecking quarterbacks that you're not going to use. I'm just trying to do it quickly here for the purpose of the fact that we're doing this essentially live in a video. So I'm going to get rid of the quarterbacks that weren't on the radar this week and that I considered unplayable. So there we go. So hopefully this should produce a nice little run for us. I'm going to actually lower him to 10. Yeah. Where's Gino? Yeah. Okay. That's one thing. Now I'm going to go to my core plays and actually increase my allowed exposure. So I set a global max of 30%, but Samaje Perine was a lock button play. And so I raised him in my actual run to 60%. And I think that's the play here as well. You want to load up on the chart. Look at his fantasy points per dollar. This guy was projected at 3.04, massively above anybody else. So I'm going to leave him how I had it for the actual slate. Now, the other play that I was all over that was not popping on the optimizer, so I had to smash a love, but he was a core play for me. As you could see, like I said on my sheet, I'll just go back to it to be clear. Christian Watson, 4-star, all formats play. That's about as good as it gets. Anything 4-star or above on my sheet, I'm loading up on that player that week. Of course, there's Amon-Ra, 5-star play. So we're going to get a little bit overexposed to our core plays here. And the way we're going to do that is by raising the ownership caps on the cores. There's Amon-Ra. And the other one, again, Christian Watson, I'm going to go 35%. I want to make sure that part of what I try to do is try to make sure that my vision for the slate comes through in the runs that we do on the optimizer. And so it's not hard to do, but you just have to pay a little bit of attention to players that you were particularly on and make sure that we adjust their projection so that they show up in lineups if there's someone you want. So, for example, AJ Brown was somebody that I was also very into this week, and I wanted to primarily pair him up with Jalen Hurts. I made a bunch of Jalen Hurts lineups, so I'm smashing and adore on AJ Brown just to make sure that hopefully he'll show up in some of those AJ Brown lineups. Devonta Smith or AJ Brown is going to be in everyone because he's stacked, but hopefully that. So, with all that being said, let's give this bad boy a run and see what happens. Again, 150 lineups, 20% RB in the flex, 3 uniques. Actually, I'm going to stop this right now because I just remembered that we have 0 chance of hitting the nuts about the Browns. So, what I'm going to do here, and this is a little cheat code, is just smash a love on the Browns and see if we can get some exposure to them in this run. That's just going to help us get there. Now, on a normal slate, I probably am not doing that unless I particularly loved Browns. And I actually did on my run increase my projection on the Browns a little bit, but not enough. Even with smashing a love, so about a 10% projection increase, I only wound up with 2 or 3 lineups that had the Browns in it. There were, they did fine. If you had any lineup with the Browns in it, P. Ryan and I had Watson and Wilson in every lineup that I handcrafted this week as well. So it was pretty good stuff. I have high hopes even for this first run. I got a feeling we're going to just crush it. We'll see if we don't, but I have a feeling. we're going to hit it with the first run. So you saw how few adjustments I even made just now. Just a few button clicks. Let's see what happens here. So final fantasy points. Let's sort. Yeah, I mean, it's not even close. So are you kidding? The first lineup at 235. And of course, the Browns defense really set the stage. 232, 218. So, I mean, just having the defense is such a cheat code this week that if you just use them, you were smashing it. There's a 235. You just saw the first run. So all it did was really, stacking QB +2, the same quarterbacks that we used. I probably didn't even need to increase my core exposures, but this is what I ran on the actual, because Samaje Perine was one of those special situations where you want to load up, as was Amon-Ra. I feel the same way about some of these guys this week, but it didn't take much. The key to winning the tournament and taking down the million in NFL Week 13 was just making sure, hey, yeah, I double stacked my QB. I got my Samaje exposure. The other guys were going to be there, and it was just you needed the Browns. How could I? So I'm going to try something now. Obviously, we easily smashed the nuts there, but I'm going to try just running this at 15% max. I'm going to raise randomization a little bit so that runs a little bit faster, but I'm just going to do it at 15% max and see if maybe Browns would have popped up on their own, even if like 4% Browns rather than the 15 or 10 I just got would have been enough as well on a run to take down first place. Because it's a very simple thing here. We just played our quarterbacks that we liked, QB +2. I actually used a new exclude rule that we've added to the domination station. It's very simple. So when you make I'm going to show you how I did this. So essentially what's going on here is I have 2 rules: stack QB with no less than 1 wide receiver, same team. Then I got another rule: QB with no less than 2, but exclude Chicago and Philadelphia, meaning exclude Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields from the QB +2 rule. Now, in the end of the day, Jalen Hurts actually carried 2 pass catchers with him this week, but more often than not, that's not been happening. So for that reason, we exclude the 2. And let's take a look. So okay, without the cheat code, with no cheat code, without the like on the Browns, take a look at this. We put up a 219 in our first run, and this has borderline no other adjustments. It's just a basic run. 219. The only thing that we did was control for QB by including just the QBs that I had on the sheet this particular week, essentially the QBs that we liked. And I mean, it's kind of unbelievable. 219, which in the Millie Maker would have been good for $20,000 in fourth place. So that could have been, that lineup I believe was maybe achieved by style. Like, that's amazing. Literally the first run. That's unbelievable. So it took borderline, no adjustment, stack QB with 2. I just increased my exposure. I didn't even increase the projection, just my exposure specifically to P. Ryan and Amon-Ra, who were core plays, and Garrett Wilson. And that was it. 212 in the second lineup, 208, 204. So put a bunch of lineups in the top 200. Pretty, really, really, actually, really impressive stuff. And I love this. The first lineup is a Hurts lineup. The second one is a Goff lineup, Goff plus 2. Goff with Amon-Ra and Shark. Shark had a nice game. There's Geno plus 2. Noah Fant had a nice game. Oh my goodness, right? So very impressive stuff this week. The domination station coming through again. Members absolutely crushed it. Now I can see why. A couple clicks of the button, and there we are, in first place or winning the Millie. 1 like on the Browns, you're winning the Millie. No like on the Browns, no cheat code. Still showing up in. Did I get the Browns in that? Broncos. Yeah, without even the Browns, still in the top 5 in the Millie Maker. So that's how we do it. NFL week 13. That's the week in review. And again, if you like this kind of content where we're going back, we're learning how to use tools, how to approach DFS, how to attack it like the pros attack it, and we like to teach it. We're the only place where you're going to really get this kind of instruction at DFS Army. So if you want to get signed up at DFS Army, make sure you check it out. DFS Army, promo code GEEK gets you 10% off. We'll be back all week with all the content. Showdown breakdown on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday for the Thursday night game. We've got the game plan coming out, bets and DFS, everything on this channel. So make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys